Hi friends, welcome to yet another episode of Surkhab Talks. Surkhab Talks is a platform where we encourage people to talk out their concerns, to sort out their concerns. And why we do that? We all human beings, we are very unique. Our journeys are very unique. And accordingly, we have been blessed with strengths and you can say weaknesses, but they may not necessarily be weaknesses. So, when you get into any situation where you don't know what to do, it is always good to talk to someone whom you trust, or even better, if you go for professional help. If you keep the situation to yourself, the talks to yourself, you may not necessarily get a solution based thing. You will have more problems. And in today's episode, we are going to discuss mental health. And in mental health, it is more important that we always talk out our concerns to ensure that we get solutions from it, from our way, somebody else's way, or even better, a professional way. Since Surkhab Talks always invites subject experts to help us navigate on that subject, today we have invited Mr. Clifford Wilfred De Silva, who is the director for Goa Counselling Center, who has got, can you believe, more than 50 years of experience in psychology and psychotherapy. No better person to talk on this subject. And one thing what I learned from him when I was discussing this issue was that I always thought when you approach a person, psychologist, psychotherapist, psychiatrist, you can talk about your issues. But he gave me a different perspective. He said that if a person has gone through a bad episode or, something which is sad for the person need not discuss it. We can always look at the solution without discussing it. तो सोचो हम में से बहुत सारे लोग हैं जिनको पसंद नहीं होगा कि अपनी बातें हम किसी को बताएं या एज ही सेड कि दिल भी करेगा तो भी वो थोड़ा टचिंग हो सकता है. सो इट इज़ नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट कि हम उनको बताएं वो चीज़. हम बिना बताए भी सोल्यूशन ढूंढ सकते हैं. सो आई वुड रियली would like to thank him for coming out with this thought also, that there are many other ways. There is not this standard way of coming out with solutions. तो हम लोग ये भी अप्रोच यूज़ कर सकते हैं कि हम किसी से बात करें बिना उस दर्द को फिर से टच किए. ये बहुत आसान बात लगी कि बहुत सा प्रोफेशनल हेल्प है जहाँ पर ज़रूरी नहीं है कि हम झिझकें, हम सोचें कि हमें बताना चाहिए, नहीं बताना चाहिए. आप कंफर्टेबल नहीं हैं, आप मत बताइए. कंफर्टेबल है, बताइए, वो भी ठीक है. लेकिन ये भी एक तरीका है कि बिना झिझके हम सोल्यूशन ढूंढें. इम्पॉर्टेंट क्या है? सोल्यूशन ढूंढें. अपने तक ना रखें, उससे ज़्यादा ही प्रॉब्लम्स होंगी. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग ऑन द शो सर.
Thank you, actually.
So my first question to you is that whenever people are in distress and somebody tells them that you go meet a psychologist, meet a psychiatrist, people often don't know, whom to approach. So how should a person identify at what stage that whether the person should go to a psychologist, a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist?
There's a psychologist, there is psychotherapist, and there's psychiatrist. The psychiatrist is, I'm giving very briefly, is a medical personnel. He or she has studied medicine, and then they do, in India, they do a course in pharmacology, and they get a diploma or a post-graduation on that. And they know what medication to give for which disease. They learn about the diseases. But they don't learn counseling in India. They learn medication. They're doctors. The psychotherapist does what is known as talk therapy. He or she finds different ways in which to cure a person without medication. they are not qualified to prescribe medication. The psychologist is like, you could see general psychology, you get experimental psychologists. They're very useful. Developmental psychologists, industrial psychologists.
Okay.
Take a simple thing like surf
Huh.
powder.
Huh.
You remember the original surf? What was it? What color was the packet?
Blue.
Blue. And what was the surf written in? Yellow.
Yellow. Oh.
So what they did is they actually did a survey of the same powder in different packets with different coloring and of letters and packets. It's the same powder. But they would give people these 4 packets and tell us which one you like best.
Okay.
So that influences, the soap is the same. The same thing they did with beer. And the beer in green bottles sells better than beer in brown bottles. So this is the industrial side. This is the people's reaction. So the industrial psychologist does this kind of work. It's very useful. Cars, design of cars, colors. Why do they always have a pretty woman in skimpy clothing near a car? Nobody's buying the woman. But you get influenced. So everyone has their place. But I think psychiatrists and psychotherapists tend to look down on each other. Each thinks they're superior. But that aside, when you want to go, I would say that better than these 3 is to go to a coach, because that is a neutral word. When you say psychologist, even now, though every school in Goa has a counselor, they won't go to a counselor. The school announces, the principal comes and says, this is so-and-so and this is a counselor. Anyone who has problems, please come to this person. So anyone who goes to that person means that they have a problem, right? They have a problem, that's where they're going. Suppose you were to give the designation to that counselor as a success coach. And then the principal announces, anybody who's looking for success, please come to this coach. There'll be a lot more people coming.
So my second question was this only, that like any other disease, I mean, God forbid you get into no disease is good. So when you get into any disease, why is it that mental health is looked down upon? The person who goes is into, whether it should be known to other people. There is stigma.
The stigma is the word mental itself. When you say mental health, because we say, I remember once a student, when I asked her feedback on a program we had given. I mean, she said it as a joke, but she said, you are 99% mental and 1% experimental. See, with this word mental, if we say he's a mental person or a mental case, it's a negative thing. Now, there is different kinds of illnesses. One is depression, which is common. These are all neuroses. There's depression. There can be clinical depression. But, when a person starts talking to people who are not there and all, that is serious. That's psychosis. But neuroses, actually, there's a book I remember reading as a kid. We're all neurotic. We neurotics. Everybody is neurotic. We have some kink or the other, right? Everyone has some peculiarity or the other. So, if you have to go to a professional, it looks as though you're a mental case. For them, they understand mental as the same as mad. And in America, the word mad means angry. Therefore, insane is the word they use for mental, right? But here, mental, in India, mental means it's bad somehow. So that's the kind of a stigma there.
Friends, 2 things I've learned. One is that, psychiatrists give you medicines. So before that, if you approach someone, a life coach, psychologist, they can take you out before you reach the stage of medication. However, even medication is not wrong. Like for any other disease, we take medication for this also. Okay, so, but prevention is better than cure is said. So it's good whenever you get into too much of stress, you start taking help. And second thing I would like to emphasize is that it is all in our mind. This is good, that is good. There's nothing like good, bad, ugly. Things happen, and if they happen, you need to take solution for it. So please take this out for yourself and for all others, that there is something wrong with being mad, being mental. Nothing. That's also phase of life, and it also moves through. So, sir, moving on. if someone approaches a psychologist or a psychotherapist like you, what is the first thing how do you help them? What is a course like? What happens?
Yeah, first of all, there are categories. Like if there is a person who is seeing things which are not there, what you call hallucinations, or hearing, most common auditory, they hear, you remember that there was this guy in Bombay who was killing people on the pavement with a huge stone.
Yes.
He had a message. He said he got a message from Goddess Durga or one of those goddesses. These are hallucinations. So in talk therapy, we will not deal with hallucinations and all that. We send them to a psychiatrist.
Okay.
There are a lot of psychiatrists who send their clients to me for counseling. They are to continue their medication, but they need talk therapy.
Okay.
And I send people to psychiatrists.
Okay.
If a person cannot...
Because it is
Yeah,
interlinked.
yeah. Well, I am a practitioner of something called solution-focused brief therapy. And as the name itself shows, we are concerned with the solution. So generally what we do is, sometimes even before the person has spoken, because they have spoken on the phone and made an appointment, they generally tell you what the problem is. But there is a person called Chris Iverson in our profession who came out with this brilliant question. So we just asked this question: what are your best hopes from our talking together today? And this puts people off completely, because they come all primed to speak about their problem.
True.
And when you start talking about the solution, it's a completely different ball game for them. Because if a person comes to me with a problem, I analyze the problem, when did it start, and so on and so forth, that person he's staying mired in the problem, and he's telling you more and more about the problem. But what if let's say a person comes to me with a problem that, I don't know, they're unable to speak in public. So what do they want really? They want to be able to speak in public. So we'll ask them, well, what difference would it make to you if you are able to speak in public?
Okay.
And suppose you could speak in public, how would you do it?
Okay.
Now they're talking about a different state, a preferred state. This is what we get at in solution-focused brief therapy.
So friends, did you understand this simple change, that when you go to a professional, it may not be that agony aunt wala series, they will help you focus on the solution, which because of so much stress, your brain won't be able to focus or won't be able to see. But when you are sitting with a professional, the professional will tell you, there is a way, and will make you only take out those 3-4 things. So we have set of people who, when they get into a problem, they think that it will go on its own. The problem will disappear, or the divine intervention would be there. Definitely it will be there in many cases. But if it doesn't happen, what is your message to such people who are waiting for it to settle on its own, which may or may not happen?
Actually, many problems do settle on their own.
Okay.
People find a way. In the medical profession also you get that, no? Sometimes we're afraid to go to a doctor, and then that thing disappears sometimes on its own, right?
So what is the period, sir?
That's the thing. That's the thing. See, with our profession, we cannot tell a person, please, you need counseling, please come to me. They have to come on their own. In many cases, they are mandated. That is, say, a parents bring a person by the scruff of their neck, a parent brings their child, or the court may, like I've got cases where couples want to get divorced. The judge sends them compulsorily for counseling.
Okay.
Now they're both there reluctantly.
Correct.
So they're like hostile witnesses in a court, right?
So here I would like to add another one. It's not easy for a person to go on their own to a psychologist.
Yes.
But because of the physical strength or mental strength, no one else can pull them also. So first thing is that why people are hesitant. Is there a way that we can tell them that, you don't have to be hesitant, you can go if they can go on their own? Or you suggest that simply drag them and make them come to a psychologist? How does it work?
That's why I come back to my favorite theme of coach. If you tell someone, why don't you go to a coach because you know you're good at this and you can really become better at that, they'll go without hesitation. Complete stranger, they'll go to a coach. But you tell them psychologist or psychiatrist or psychotherapist, they say, why? I don't need it. I'm not mental. So we are stressing the wrong thing. If you stress success, if you stress solutions, you stress outcomes. What is the outcome you want, right? You were saying about a person who has hallucinations and so on, right? Everyone says go to a psychiatrist or whatever. I would say to him, would you like these things to stop or are you happy with them continuing? If they are happy with it continuing, what right do we have to interfere with their life?
Okay, sir. So the next thing is, if it continues and they don't go for any medication, what will happen?
They're going to deteriorate. Then they become wards of the state, or somebody has to take them by force.
One day.
You have to go and make a police report. If they are being a nuisance, right? If they're just sitting as a recluse in their house, it's one thing, but they could harm themselves. So concerned people will have to take them for treatment, just like any other medical case.
Caregivers, the message is that anyone whom you see around yourself, your loved one, you will have to be very sensitive and tell the person that the solution lies with these experts only. If they have been named psychiatrists, psychologists, no one can help that. There's nothing like, you in your mind, the person starts thinking right, wrong, good, ugly about the therapist. These are the names given in any society, but they only have solutions. So as caregivers, please keep motivating them that the solution lies in professional help and you may have to go to such a person only. Like sir said, that if things aggravate, they may have suicidal tendencies or create some other issues. So it's always important to keep motivating them on that. So moving on, with your experience, is it hereditary that people get into mental issues, or is it stress? What is it? Environment, people around them? What is the main reason that a person gets into mental health issue?
This is the famous chicken and egg question in psychology. Is it heredity that makes the person, or is it environment? So nature or nurture? Now, we know this from our studies. In mental health, like we talk of psychosis, which are serious illnesses which require hospitalization and so on. There is a certain amount of heredity there. They're different, like paranoia or paranoid schizophrenia is slightly different. There is, like, say, sometimes they say 1 in 3 children could get it. Then in another one they say 1 in 5. It depends on which the illness is. But there is that's why when you go to a psychiatrist, they will always ask, is there anything like this in your family? Did you have any uncle and all? And then you think back and you say, yeah, uncle was a little strange, or aunt was a little strange, and so on and so forth. So there is a heredity thing. But then environment plays a serious role, no? Let's suppose a child is brought up with hatred, beatings, abuse. It can go either way, but it's influential. It influences them. Some people can fall under the bus, but others can rise. Like Oprah Winfrey, they say she had a very difficult childhood and so on, but she's risen. But then for everyone like that, there'll be so many who haven't.
So friends, a very important thing that we all have to be very strong. When you get into such a problem, we all should look at solution. There are many people, like he gave example of Miss Oprah. There are so many people who went through dire situations in life and they came up. And at the same time, there are people, who may be very sensitive, who won't be this courageous, who won't be able to come out. Underlying thing is that we all have to look at solutions, and definitely it will be available. So we experience 2 categories of people. One, when they are having a mental issue, they are overconfident that they don't have an issue. Nothing is wrong with them.
Yes.
And with their physical fitness and the way they talk, people give up on them. Friends give up on them. Family gives up on them. Nobody talks to them. They are abandoned. because people feel they are so egoistic, there's no use. So that's one category. Second category is we just want to leave this planet. No matter where we go, the solution is not going to come. I would like you to give some message to both the categories of people that how can they make a comeback?
With the second category, I'll start with that first, because they are looking for something but they feel they can't find it.
Yeah.
But they're at least looking, no? So how would it be if I asked them this question? Well, what are your best hopes from talking to me today? They may say something like, no hopes. And if you had any hopes, what would it be? And then you start talking of the outcome you want. This is so connected with success in life. The people who, I believe that without a dream, you don't succeed. But when you have a dream and it's a little bit out of the impossible dream, you've heard of Don Quixote, the Don Quixote we say in English. Cervantes wrote this book on Don Quixote. He was a knight. He wanted to be a knight in shining armor like the old days.
Okay.
And what they say is tilting at windmills. But there is this The Man from La Mancha is a movie, and there's a beautiful song there which my friend Mario likes to sing, called The Impossible Dream. If you have a dream is always impossible. Otherwise it will be reality, no? So when people have a dream, Martin Luther King had a dream, Gandhi had a dream. Walt Disney, when they opened the second Walt Disneyland, everyone told his wife that it's such a pity that Walt didn't live to see this. She said, but he saw it.
Oh.
He saw it in his dream first. He dreamt it. Everything happens twice, no? This studio, somebody has conceived it, right? And then it came to life. So you have to dream it. And there are people who have no hope. In solution-focused brief therapy, we give them hope. And this is very important. Now, for the person, the first category of those who are... See, we have a great respect for a person. So if the person feels they're okay, who am I to say that you should do this or you should do that?
Friends, did you see the change? That first I talked about people who have problems but are overconfident, and even a therapist didn't choose the first category. He said, let me focus on people who have no hope, but at least they'll come to me and I can create something for them. But people who are overconfident and are not ready to accept the fact that they have a problem.
Just a small point, like a couple can come to you and say, we are married for so many years, we have never been happy. Now, in my mind, I'm going, but they've come here, no? There's hope. And we have to have faith. We have to have faith in our client. We believe in our client. We believe that if they've come here, it's for a reason. We're always optimistic about that. And that's how you get success.
So, people who don't have a dream, please start having one. Yes. That's very important, because a stage will come when you would have God's grace, where you would have got everything you would have thought of, basics and maybe more than that. But still, till we are alive on this planet, we need to have a dream. And for people who are not looking at solutions, who are not going to therapists, please see to it that you go to one and get into solutions. It's for your own interest. So, to maintain mental health well, can you give us some tips? Because if it is hereditary or any other reason which you mentioned, there's little in the hand of the people who may land into this. So what as human beings can do every day? Please do not talk about exercise, meditation.
No. See, I've mentioned it in passing in a different context. See, in mental, when they talk of physical health, they'll always tell you to have a healthy lifestyle.
Correct.
Right? So, similar in if you want a good mental health, you have to have a healthy mental health lifestyle. Like, don't sweat the small things. There are some things that are not worth bothering about.
Okay.
If I'm driving and somebody cuts across me, okay, a lot of us curse. but at least you feel some relief. That's fine, and it's out of your head, right? If you make up your mind to now, I'm going to sort out all these people. We had the case just yesterday of a person in Delhi or someplace, I forget where, because this delivery man had hit Bangalore. He hit the mirror, and he apologized and everything. They chased him and they rammed into him, killed him. What a small thing. So don't sweat the small stuff. We come back, there's a person called Dr. Andrew Weiss. He says, he talks only about breathing and the famous 478 of yoga. And he says he learnt the heart of breathing, the whole thing comes from India. It's the oldest on the map. There is Sufi and other cultures that have breathing. We have India.
Thank you for saying this, sir. We always say this, that in India we have so many therapies, unbelievable, unimaginable. So you have all solutions here. Just keep your eyes, ears open and go with anything which resonates with you.
No, you see what it has to come from the West. We have a Maharishi Yogi, who was a transcendental medicine, meditation. He made it popular in the world. Vipassana,
correct.
Now they call it mindfulness. Trust the Americans. They commercialize everything. The Vipassana course, I did it in 1973 under S.N. Goenka, who was then himself. He actually came to Lonavala and he gave it to us. We were a whole group of us. And how much did we pay? Whatever you put in the box.
Okay.
Mindfulness, you go for 1 hour mindfulness class, you pay $50. It's the same thing, just breathing and body scan and so on. But these things are nice. Just 5 minutes a day of Vipassana is great. It's centering.
Thank you for making it very light, sir. So, friends, it's not important that all these things come at a very high cost. It can come at lesser cost, free also at many times. And the most important thing he said is that don't fret over small things or even bigger things. It will not help anyways. So stop taking tension on that, because we all have to remember that today it may be a bit of tension, but if it sparks more than that, we land into bigger trouble. Okay, so one question which I want to ask is that we don't realize young people, small kids for me, like say 12, 13-year-old kids, slipping into depression. People around them, they don't realize it when it happens. One, why is it happening to young people? And second, how do parents or loved ones be careful about anyone? How do they notice those symptoms in a person?
Yeah. There are two things that people in general blame for everything. Anything and everything. One is COVID. After COVID, this is post-COVID, this has happened. And the other is and this is related to COVID, because every youngster compulsorily got a mobile for class and so on. And there are a lot of illnesses like depression and all that are related to this, because they say he's quiet or she's quiet because she's on the phone all day. She's not really being tested in the world. They have virtual people who have 5,000 friends on Facebook. Their idea is to get more friends. I get a lot of, from young people. I get friend requests on Facebook. I told my daughter. She said, Dad, don't think too much of yourself. They probably have seen somebody on your list whom they want to associate. So they come as a mutual friend. When they approach them, the mutual friend is me. So they are doing their work through you. So that was a very great boost of ego for me. But this is what their sole intention is, to get as many friends as possible. They just left, right and center. I've been to Afghanistan twice for the Jesuit refugee service, and a lot of those people have made me their friend. And in one case, I told someone about her, and she wanted to be a friend in Afghanistan, and she said no, she's reached the 5,000 limit. There are 5,000 limit of friends, I think. Then you start. So this is what they are in that virtual world.
Okay.
And they are not really tested in the real world. They don't have friends in real.
Okay.
They have just virtual friends.
So, friends have friends. So, grown up people, please keep talking to people around whom you can befriend, who can talk things out without judging you. And parents who have small kids, please see to it that they also have friends in real around them with whom they play, they talk, and there is physical interaction happening, and it's not all happening on mobile.
Those simple things when we were kids, we had simple things like a party. Okay, there was no dinner and all. A little show choda, a couple of patties or something. And we'd have games. And there was interaction. We have workshops. We break up into groups and we talk. But you don't have that anymore. So how do parents identify whether their child is, slipping into depression or slipping into abnormality? See, parents have a very simple way of finding out things. Is my child eating? Is my child talking at mealtime? Are we talking? Are we interacting? If the child is not doing these things, it's already a bad sign. No? I know some children are more quiet. But if you ask a child, what happened in school today? And they say nothing. But then they go back to their phone. They're slipping into a different world. That itself is a bad sign. So if they find that their child is unable to even have a conversation with them, it's something they have to pay attention. I know parents who have done, cold turkey. Because I had gone to a house and I called that boy, he was 8 years or 6 years old. I told his mother, I called his name 12 times. And he didn't look at me. And she realized this is a problem. And cold turkey, they just cut off their TV completely. Now they're reading books, they're reading loud, they're learning music. They're going for something like capoeira. It's a Brazilian thing. It's very much in Delhi. So you need to get where you meet people face to face. So when they see that their child is not interacting as they did when they were kids, it's already a bad sign. Do something about it.
So too is for grown-ups also. So
Yeah, you don't have to take them to a psychiatrist and get them involved in something that's not virtual.
Too much isolation is not good.
Even if now they have taekwondo classes and all, there's a big reduction in these things. People don't want to go for all this. They want their phone.
So, sir, you have written a couple of books around many subjects. So, can you give a brief on...
Okay. My first book was on spirituality and how to achieve an enlightenment. And I have the theory that nobody has to teach you how to reach enlightenment. You will get it yourself. And anybody who seeks will find. I have given a lot of stories in that book, besides the introduction, which is the important part. Stories. A story, a story has a way of, and this I get from my mentor, Anthony DeMello. He says in one of his books, a story has a way of worming itself into your heart. I put it like this. It's like a mole. You have those Russian moles in America and all that. They surface suddenly. So a story can come to light. Suddenly you begin to get an understanding of what that story means. And that is very useful. So that's why I wrote that book. But after that I wrote, I work with a group called ARS, who work against human trafficking. And this had, done a research and found that many of these trafficked people were abused as children. So the trouble starts there. So we went to what is called the source states. Source states are like the northeastern states, they're very pretty girls, Darjeeling. So these are source states. They get the people there, and then there are the destination states like Goa, Delhi. These are the destination states. So we went to these places, and we had 3 experts. I was the therapist, there was a lawyer, and there was a social worker. And each of us wrote a manual on what to do when they come across cases. And we spoke to 5 categories of people. That is police, shelter home workers, parents of teenagers, school teachers, and I forget the fifth one. So they all attended our course for 2 or 3 days. We gave them instruction and we wrote a manual. That's the book. It's called Reducing Harm. And it's available online. I can send it to you because it was a sponsored thing and they brought out copies of the book with a CD and everything. Another book that I've written is called Diaries of the Heart. It's about person-centered therapy. And basically, if you read that book, you would be able to learn how to do person-centered therapy or at least practice it on yourself. I could come out with a follow-up called the Person-Centered Therapy, Diaries of the Heart, Selfie, where you learn it yourself. And that book has the two of us who have written it, and we have taken the experiences of various people who have been under a therapist, person-centered therapist, and their experiences show you the change that they have undergone is major and lasting. Now I'm into solution-focused brief therapy, which is like a takeoff from that. So in many ways, because basic principles are the same, but just that we ask a lot more questions. And so still another book is about how to live as a good Christian. It's called What Do You Do on Mondays? It's a nice title because the Bishop of Goa, that time the Cardinal, Philip Neri, he quoted a little, like a couplet. He said, Mr. Christian went to church. He never missed a Sunday. But when he died, he went to hell for what he did on Monday. So it's not just going to church and praying, but how you are with your neighbor. So that's called what you do on Mondays.
So, sir, what is a parting message to all the people who are going through mental issues or are generally stressed out? What are the tips and tools you can give so that they can lead a better life? We all can lead a better life.
Well, what I'm going to say will actually get me less money, but you don't have to go to a therapist. You have the means within you, you have the resources within you. And that's why we call solution-focused brief therapy, because it's briefer than psychoanalysis, which went on for years. It doesn't mean we just solve a problem like that. But sometimes what you need is a nudge, just a nudge in the right direction. And just take this simple thing. Let me do a very small experiment with you. I want you to think of a problem you have. Don't tell me what it is. Right? You're thinking? It could be a small or a big problem.
Okay.
Now, we ask what is known as the taxi driver question. When you get into a taxi, you're not going to tell him, there's a riot here and this is what I'm experiencing. What is the first question he's going to ask you?
Where do you want to go?
Where do you want to go? I'm asking you the same question. What is the outcome you would want instead of this situation which you have? Can you think of the outcome that you want?
Yeah.
Now, if we talk about that outcome, just even imagine us talking about the outcome. What are the kind of things you would like to be able to do? Don't say. What are the things you would like to be able to do?
Yeah.
How would you like to act? How would you like to think? What's the mindset you would have?
Yeah.
And if just by magic say, it happened, how would you be?
I'm already feeling very good about it.
See what I mean? This is what I mean. And there are people who come for one session and after that they're on their way because they don't have a major problem. But if you stay with the problem, you're going to stay mired in the problem. And the founder of this were two people, Steve De Silva and his wife Insu Kimberg, who's of Korean origin. Both were in America. And Steve De Silva says, and very wise, problem talk creates problems. Solution talk creates solutions. Now, I was talking to a client in the United States, an Indian guy. He was talking to me and he says, we are talking about progress here. Progress talks creates progress. I thought he read Steve De Silva. He says problem talk creates problems. So it's so true. The tips you asked me, I would like to add this. In neuro-linguistic programming, they have a presupposition. They just presuppose this, that everyone has the resources that they need at a given time. It just may not be aware of it. So if you take, I'm thinking of the people you said who are overconfident. They have the resources. So it's not like, we are the experts. We, in solution-focused brief therapy, we are experts in the process. But you are the expert in your problem. I didn't give you any solution when I asked you a problem. I asked you what you would do, how would you like to be. It's not for me to judge you. I would like to see how you would behave if that thing came to pass. And then you start behaving as if. And it's very important. So people can just, I know that you would need to go to a professional sooner or later, but if you have a physical problem, you don't always have to go to a doctor, right? In the same way, if you have this attitude that you can do it, you have the resources, you think it'll come out, you will get it. You will get it.
So friends, this is quite easy now, that we all have that within. And this is coming from a person who has got more than 50 years of experience in this field. So you don't have to do more research on it. We all have it within, and we can find out the solutions the way we want, the way we like. It may not be, related to many people. Not many people may agree or disagree with it. You can think of your own solutions in your own way and work on it. If you're able to do it yourself, great. If you are not able to, we are in India. Lot of help is available around. Sir, I would like to specially thank you for making this session very light, and thank you so much for coming here.
Yeah. After COVID, we all learned to do this, even the West. Yeah, so thank you very much.